As I started working, I think the visual language kind of developed on its own. So I would work on a page or a spread and feel like, oh, that looks great, and then I'd kind of go on the next one and like, okay, it needs to fit into that, that past page. So that's really kind of how it started, and then as this massive project unfolds, you're wanting to obviously keep the your color palette intact, um, and you don't want to stray too much in style. There are ways that I was able to do that where I'm kind of evolving the style from a conceptual standpoint. So maybe there'd be an illustration of the prodigal son, and that's kind of more of a straightforward story. But then right next to it would be something that's much more conceptual. That's where I was able to kind of break out of that mold that I was in a really cool way that also stays within the story, and the style. So in terms of visual motifs that people can notice along the way, I am using obviously the same colors. I'm using a lot of the same, I think there's like three different types of angels that show up, and I'm able to kind of bring them together in Revelation. There's a lot of the same style of trees and landscapes. Sometimes I think about if I were to create a style guide for this Bible, it'd be fairly easy. I could kind of pull apart and here's your cluster of trees. Here's what like landscapes look like. Here's what structures look like. Here's what men and women and boys and girls. Here's what Jesus. And at the end, I think that was what happened. But although you don't really I didn't figure that out until you kind of start get deep into the project. I think like halfway through the New Testament, I was able to kind of go, oh, and kind of go back and make certain pages better. And when you're flipping through the entire book, even though I started the Old Testament first, it needed to be as good as the New Testament. And I definitely needed to go back and kind of configure some stuff.